Braulio, what up, man? How are you?
I'm good, Adam, man. Good to see you here. It's always good to catch up with old friends, all those on this madness that's going on in the world. And then I
Right?
always like to catch up with you. Always bring me good energy.
Craziness, Braulio. You bring the best energy. You and Henzo, man. You and Henzo are the energy bringers of the jiu-jitsu world.
We're the crazy ones.
Man, how is it in London right now with COVID?
Man, all this going very crazy. It's such a it's very weird what all going on. Like how you see the whole world stopping in a suddenly like that. We tend to think that when something's about bad to come, you kind of feel the soundtrack like in the movies.
Yeah.
But it's not. In reality, it's just like boom, it's here, it's happening right now. There's no build up to it, and over here. Things are very getting very hard now because I think we're getting to the top of the peak.
Right.
It's like over 1,000 people dying every day. Have some friends that are being affected, and that's when things get a little bit more real on our mindset because we tend to think because you don't feel, you don't see. And then as a natural human beings, we try to think, oh, is that really happening? People are over-exaggerating. And I remember my friends from Italy saying, bro, don't underestimate that because things are really bad. And until you see someone close going through a very tough time, with it, that's we all kind of do a little bit of a wake-up call. But we try, in terms of a lifestyle, in terms of how we be dealing with it, we all been doing the quarantine. I have a key people here that we are quarantined together. I was very fortunate to be able to join the group before all that, so I can still be able to deliver, our services in terms of jiu-jitsu. We have just switched the platform of delivering what we always had, like as the Gracie Barra experience. So we try to make this experience back to everyone's backyard or everyone's home. And the feedback has been amazing. It's crazy how jiu-jitsu is such a individual sport, but at the same time, we need each other to be able to do it. And then when we see that we are all separate, but we still be able to be connected through all the online platform that's being shown a very big feedback. And I'm really positive on that delivery of what jiu-jitsu has to be giving us, because we do, a lot of people do jiu-jitsu because they want to get fit. A lot of people do jiu-jitsu to socialize. People do jiu-jitsu to learn, and people do jiu-jitsu to get inspired. And then we try to get all those 4 pillars back to the home, and then it seems like it being very good effect.
Yeah, it's been an interesting switch, like this really fast switch that we've all had to make, right? Like we're like, okay, so how we're going to ask all of our students to keep paying if they can, right? Like we all did, and then what is it that we're going to do? Because you saw a lot in the beginning of this whole thing, and I think people did this mistakenly, saying, "Hey, I'll pay you back later," and you can't do that. Right, like as the academy owner, that will end you. Like if the student pays and then you say you're going to give them a discount later, well then how are you going to pay later, right? You can't. You'll go out of business later. So you had to make a switch to give a product now, right? Like I have something for you today, so that we can keep engaged. We can still keep getting in shape. Sure, we can't roll. Right? Like we can't get that train hard, but we can still learn and be connected and do all of those things. And that was an immediate switch that I want to say we all had to make.
Yeah, especially, for example, when we say we cannot roll, but in the same way, we cannot do a lot of other things. So everyone is on the same boat.
Right.
So
right.
The mentality is, how can I get the best out of it? How can I go back after all this gone? How can I go back better than average? Because if I don't do nothing, you're just gonna sink in. At least you're making the best out of it. And it is crazy how everything went, but it shows as well whoever is prepared to connect to your team. And I always believe that once you have the problem when I see a lot of clubs, they tend to use this moment to take a break. The owners, some owners, they're having a break, a chill. Dude, listen, this is not a holiday for us. This is we need just to get busy in the different ways. And then if you do that, your students will see how much the effort you're making, and they will appreciate you, and they will give back because they realize how much you are giving back, and then you appreciate the give back and become the appreciation and give back mentality, which is what we need right now.
Right. A lot of everyone says that, jiu-jitsu schools are a community, right? We're a community where, well, now's the time for the teachers to prove it. Right? Like now it's really our time to figure out how to keep our communities together and not just be like, all right, peace out. We'll see you guys when it's over. And when you do come back, whenever we can open again, how are we better? What did we learn? What are we able during this time? In my opinion, like you said, it's not a fucking holiday. You better come back with something more than you had before, because you do have a lot of time right now to do the thing that all of us say we never have time to do, which is work on our schools, right? Because we're always so busy working in them. Now we have the time.
Yeah, that's the thing that we're trying to do. And then I'm trying to lead by example. And I'm trying to, because one of the most important, one of the dangers that I find all this, Eliot, it's the coronavirus. Of course, that is a danger out there, right? But it's mainly for people who are debilitated, people, the older people that are more vulnerable, right? But a lot of people who are not in risk of coronavirus, they still have a lot of risks for depression, suicide. The suicide rates going up. You know why? It's because people, people are stressed at home. A lot of people that don't have a very good relationship at home now, they're forced to be inside with their inmate. And this causes a lot of other side effects. And that's what's come down to what we're supposed to be doing about that, because that's when you can give them something for escape. That's what jiu-jitsu is, right? People can go use jiu-jitsu to kind of reset themselves, to exercise, to socialize, and they will need us more than anything. That's why I know you have a good mentality because you are an amazing fighter. We fighters, we have that mentality because we practice that over and over again, this mentality of trying to always take the positive, try to get, the best out of the bad thing, right? You want to be comfortable on the uncomfortable situation. That's what we are practicing on the daily basis, and now we're putting that in practice. But a lot of people who start learning about that, they don't necessarily have this ability yet, and that's why I chose to lead by example. And then I was doing all the classes. I've been doing 2 classes a day, and I'm fitter than before when all this thing happened. So if I can, that's why why not?
It's work time. It's not chill time, right? It's work. It's a different work, right? It's a different work. Yeah, it's not the same work that we were all doing before. It's a different work. Look, you thought you could teach a class. Can you teach a class over a Zoom, right? Now we're going to see if you're a good teacher, right? Because you literally have to explain it perfectly, right? Because if you don't explain it perfectly, your students, right? Like if you can't tell them, you have to work on your teaching skills, and hopefully you'll be a better teacher when we're all together again.
Exactly. Right? Even if you're not good, even if you didn't do well in the beginning, but that is a learning curve. So that's when you realize. Then later you're going to become better. You do something new, different.
Yeah, man. Who is good at it? Nobody, right? Nobody was good at it. Nobody. Last week was the first time I ever taught a jiu-jitsu class over Zoom. Who was good at it? No one was good at it. That's cool.
It's so difficult.
It's so different. And yeah, but the people don't care. Right? They'll give you the break. So if you're not doing it because maybe you're worried about who cares? Get on the Zoom, get on whatever, and figure out how. Man, Zoom's killing it right now, huh? How many accounts do you think signed up for Zoom?
My goodness, man. Hey, that will be people winning on this pandemic. There's some people losing, but Zoom is one of the winning.
Zoom, Amazon, the grocery store, Netflix. Right? What's that?
Tiger King.
Yeah, Tiger King.
Joe the Exotic, man.
Yeah, man. Yo, that Carol Baskin killed her fucking first husband. Holy shit. Holy shit. If you don't think Carol Baskin killed her first husband, stop listening to this podcast. All right, man. Let's get off COVID a little bit. It's always good, like, to hear and see what other people are doing. I want to talk about you a little. So we have your home country behind you, Baja, Rio. We were saying that's Baja de Tijuca, great, where the the renowned Gracie Baja is.
Yeah.
But that's not where you started, right? Like, you started when Amal met you. You were this like obscure guy in the jungle, like where no one knew. Tell us about that, the beginnings of jiu-jitsu for you.
Yeah, I mean, like, what I am from Recife, the northeast of Brazil. It's a very small town. Not by the jungle yet. We're far from the jungle, but we are in the beach jungle. But man, like, it was very like far away from Rio and far away from all the mecca of jiu-jitsu, and it's some place like people never expect someone could come out in jiu-jitsu doing well there. And I think this was one of the challenges that I put to prove people wrong and drove me in, because I've always tried to become a better version of myself all the time. I never tried to become better than anybody. And then I just felt that doesn't matter how many times I fall trying to do what I really want, what I did enjoy doing it, it doesn't matter. So I just carry on slowly. I'm brown belt, and then started having a feeling that, oh, this is possible. And that's when I met Amal. I met Amal on one of those journeys to Rio. He used to go there all the time. And I met one of I remember, like, every time we talk about that moment, that time, it's one of my most fascinating time that I spent in my like a discovery life was in Boulder, man, with you guys. He wasn't even a fighter in the UFC yet at the time. Nope. You were a bartender at the Foundry. Yep. Remember?
Foundry, baby. We had some good times.
Oh, man. And Amal there in Boulder, he gave me, I stayed in his house, and I was one of my I remember the feeling of freedom for the first time in my life. I was like 22 years old, full of dreams, and jiu-jitsu was something that was kind of shining up. I started feeling that I could be something, and for the first time, really, I was making money in jiu-jitsu, living. For me, man, that little old bike that he has still now today, like, he gave me that bike. He asked, bro, do you know how to ride a bike? I said, of course I do. I never did before in my life.
It wouldn't have mattered. Even if you would have said no, he still would have given it to you. Figure it out.
That's cool. And I used to, go teach. And then, that's when first time I did a seminar abroad. And we trained together. And I remember...
I remember. So the first time we trained, motherfucker, right? I can remember because it was the first time you come to altitude, right? And you're beating the shit out of me. And then you get tired. And then all of a sudden you mount me, right? You're tired. You lock up a triangle with both of my arms in like this, right? And then you go, okay, hold on, I need to rest. And you didn't let go of the fucking triangle. I'm like, yo, dude, no. Like, we're not resting like this. No, get off. Finish me. Get off me.
Oh, man, that was so funny. And I remember, like, brown belt for us was, it's a big differential for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's the footlocks and stuff, right? And you are the very first guy that actually got me in the footlock, in the figure 4, toe hold. You got it, and it went like, it smashed, and you go, you okay? I said, no, it's fine. It's all right. And you carry on rolling for a couple rounds, and afterwards my foot was that big. You don't remember that?
No.
I do. Because I made it look like it wasn't really a big deal, but man, it was the first time that someone just snapped my foot. It was you.
I'm sorry.
No, it made me happy. Yeah. I improved that.
Yeah.
But man, the altitude in Boulder, listen, it's an experience. If you never try to train in an altitude, man, it's a big, huge deal. It's crazy because even in Recife, it's very humid and you cannot feel the air coming in the lungs, But man, at least the air comes out there. Right. It feels like you're breathing, but it's not in.
It's totally different. Like, you can be in good shape. It's not that you're out of shape. Right. And then when you come, it's a totally different thing. So so that was the beginning, right? And Amal has this special ability. I don't know how he does it, where he meets these, because at the time, like you were saying, you were a little unknown, right? You were just barely getting known, right? I think you would did you just win purple belt or just win brown belt? Which one?
Brown belt. Just got my brown belt. I got third in the Brazilian championships in the brown belt. So I wasn't top. I just won the world as purple.
Purple, right? Yeah. So that's when Amal met you, right? So you and I can remember him talking about you. He's like, I'm going to bring, and I was a blue belt, I believe. And he's like, I'm going to bring this guy. He just won the purple belt worlds. Oh my God. And then like, that was one of the first times that I've ever been mauled, right? Like, like where I was just like, oh my God. Outside of like, your first couple experiences, right? Like when you first start jiu-jitsu, you always get mauled, right? But then you get good at it or better, and you're like, okay, I'm not going to get mauled again. And then, you do, right? Like that happens for such a long time. So that, that was your beginning of like seeing the world of jiu-jitsu, right? What was that like? Because now you were going to Gracie Barra more, right? Like you were getting to train with these monsters. Your relationship with Roger started. How did that all come to fruition?
Yeah, I mean, like when with me and Roger, we met each other when we were blue belts. I was 17, he was 16. And I remember we clicked, because we had completely different games, and I used to, because my game was completely different than most people. I was confusing others, and then I was training well with most of them, including Roger, and so we always had big battles since blue belts, and that's kind of when I started doing well, and then I never tried to. That was that, like when you go to the localism, we used to have that. So, but I never bragged. I never went there, like, I'm this, I'm that. So I went there with my feet on the ground. That's the respect. So people appreciate that. So they kind of, oh man, that guy from the Northeast is pretty cool. And then we kind of bond together, right? And you should go out. There's a lot of parties and then have fun and chilling. And then every time I used to go to Rio, I clicked with the group that were the competitive groups, so we started helping each other and then building each other. Every time that we used to compete in the Panams or at the Worlds or, the Brazilian championships, we used to always get together as a team. And then when I went to Boulder for the first time, I already been, it was just after when I moved to UK, as a trial. It wasn't together with Roger. Roger was, it's funny because when I called Roger, I already had booked my tickets. I said, Roger, listen, I'm going to London to check it out, see how it's going, things out there. And he goes, man, I'm about to board to go to London right now. I'm actually getting to the plane. I said, no way. He goes, yeah, man. I said, oh, so I'll see you in 2 weeks. And man, I'll see you in 2 weeks. So we see each other, and then he gave me all the support as possible. There was an academy in Birmingham that his dad used to do it, and then they moved to London. So Roger started building a new academy in London, and then this Birmingham academy was missing some main instructor. And Roger has a seminar. He brought me in, and then people enjoyed it, liked it, so asked me to stay responsible. So I took the job from Mauricio from them, and it just get on. And I'm still here up until now. And then me and Roger, I remember on our main tournaments, since 2004, we were competing in the worlds as a black belt. We was winning the world championships, but we were training with blue belts and with ourselves once a week. It was crazy.
Yeah, you guys have had that. Like, you guys got better that way. It was really very interesting. Like, and there's something to be said by that, because like you can perfect if you have the right mentality, right?
Yes.
You have to have the right mentality. You can't just be like, okay, I'm winning. Because of course you're gonna win against the blue belts, right? Like when you're a black belt, anytime. But can you do it in a systematic way where you can develop your game, right? How are you able to get that mentality in your training where, like, because you would have to put your ego aside a little bit, right? If you wanted to get better, right, and not just win in practice, you would have to put your ego aside, work on new things. Those blue belts might beat you sometimes, because you're working. Yeah. How did you do that? How did you figure that out?
I've always been very honest to myself, and then I start. Don't worry about what people think while training, as long as I deliver when is I supposed to. And this is one of the mentality that I put to myself. Where I came from in Recife, there was a lot of ego. People put a lot of ego, focus on the ego, and then that wasn't something that I always liked. And then when I started using my own academy and be the boss of my academy, I started like delivering that options. And then one thing that I did was this. To be honest, you can make your training as hard as you want, really. You know, for example, you can say, if you do your CrossFit and you have a minute to do your workout, you can go as hard as you can. You can go not as hard. You can go just a little bit, or you can do very slow. It's up to you, really. But if you have 1 minute, that's what you got to do. So I used to put conditions on my training. You know, one thing that I remember very well was, you know what, I'm going to submit the person with his left arm from the side control. So it's not only getting the arm, it's getting the arm from the side control. So basically, I had to make the situation to appear, even when the person didn't want to do it. And do that once, and you do that twice, you know. And then the guy, if it's your weight division, he will do everything to not give him. And then if you can make it happen, you start learning what really matters to keep the person there when he doesn't want to be there. And you learn a lot of the lessons with it. So I used to put rules, you know. I will submit you, I will pass your guard without letting you take your back out of the mat. You can even turn to the side. So how can I manipulate his back by using his legs instead of if I'm not to the side control? You know, like, and you learn a lot of manipulation.
You taught me this. It's funny that you brought up the side control, because right after you left, I got my purple belt, you know, and that the side control armbar that you showed me, like, you know, where you have the underhook and you spin around, and you showed me some very key details with it, right? I was like, okay. And I didn't finish anybody for 7 months other than that armbar. Like, that was and you taught me that, right? You were like, okay, like you didn't tell me to do it, but you were like, if you really want to get good at something, you have to do this. You have to be able to submit everybody with this move, just like this, you know? And I was like, okay, here I go. And then that's just how I worked my training for the rest of my life. Right. For the rest of my training.
Makes a difference.
Yeah. Because you learn how to do it to everybody. You learn how to do it to the big guy, the small guy, the short, stocky, right? Like, and you learn all these little details, right? And it's specialized training.
Yes.
Right. It's like going on I call it going on a diet. You're going, your training is going on a diet, right? Where, okay, I don't get to just eat whatever I want. I don't get to just catch whatever submission I want. I have to do this one.
Yeah. And you will learn a lot by yourself, and you're gonna learn a lot your limitations. You understand what are your limitations. You understand your red lines. When I say red lines, like, okay, if I cross this line, I won't be able to get it anymore. So you start to understand, and then that's how the information gets into your mind. And so when you have an opponent that you feel already, okay, I'm cool. Oh, no, cross the line, go back. So reboot or reset, you know, because it happened with me that I remember in the World Championships, I was trying to do a technique, and the guy defended, right, during the training, a purple belt. This was a black belt. I did a technique, and then the guy, and then he tapped me, right? He tapped me in the situation because I thought I was fine. And he tapped. This was like 1 week before the World Championships. But I was trying something. I was trying to figure it out to see where is the red line, right? Then when I went to the tournament, I remember the third fight, I got into this very same scenario. And then I realized that I couldn't cross the line, so I didn't even let the person. So I kind of forget about it. I'll go to this way instead. And you start learning on how to divert according to the experience you get.
That purple belt made you a world champion.
Exactly.
Right?
And I was a world champion
black
belt.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You know, and and rather than be upset by that, oh my God, I just tapped to a purple belt. You know, you took that and you learned it, because, man, who cares?
Man,
right?
In the mat, that's where you're always going to have your second chance. Training, you're always going to have your second chance for the rest of your lives on your academy mat. Yeah. But on the competition mats, not necessarily. Not necessarily,
right? It's hard to get back. It's hard to line it up every time, right? You know, like winning on a competition, right? Like that's not easy. Like for you to be able to make things go right, even when they're going wrong. Like I think that was switch to MMA for a second. I mean, I think the epitome of that was Anderson Silva, right? Like you know, like the Chael Sonnen fight, like some of his other fights where it wasn't going right. He was having bad days. but he still figured out this champion's mentality of how to pull it, just that little push at the end to make it happen, you know?
Just few people has that.
What's that?
Only few people has that, right?
That's very hard, you know? And then I would say, I don't know, I think ADCC, the absolute of ADCC is the ultimate win.
2009 was my biggest year.
And so what was that like? Because you won the absolute, you know? Like what was that, I don't know, culmination, or, you know, like being the absolute best grappler in the world?
Man, that year was a very interesting year. You know, like I've always, like me and Roger, you know, we've always like kind of, you know, we always bounce off each other, and we help each other to get in the highest level. And, you know, Roger, once when he won 2005 ADCC, he won weight in absolutes, you know, submitting everyone. A lot of the fights went like over 30 minutes, you know, 40 minutes, some of them.
Kakareko, right? Like, oh my God.
Yeah, Kakareko, that was crazy. You know? And when he won that, I was like, oh my God, man, what a win. You know, like best grappler in the world, cannot believe, you know, like I'm kind of like his pal, like he's my best mate. And I was like, man, I'm so chuffed for him. And I remember coming back to the bedroom, my room in the hotel, and I went to have a shower. And I was like, oh my Lord, man, like imagine how does he feel right this now, having his shower after all this, how is he feeling? You know, that was my mentality. And then this was 2005. 2007, I competed in ADCC. I got the best fight of the tournament with Xande Ribeiro on the under 99. And then 2009 was the first year that I was invited in previously. So I said, okay, you are definitely going to be fighting ADCC. So I focused and I trained hard. So it was my best year. I was like very innovative. I was sharp with my inverted triangle. I was sharp with my Estima lock. And that was when I went to compete. It didn't feel perfect before. I just like, okay, I trained, did my best, and I'm ready. Let's go, let's fight. And I remember, man, I tapped all the best guys in the world.
Yeah.
Like I didn't get scored 1 point. Like it was Andre Galvão, Marcelo Garcia, Lovato, Xande Ribeiro. I beat Vini Magalhães and others. And it was like flawless. I didn't make a mistake in the whole tournament, you know. And when I finished, I said, oh my God, man, you know, I like can't believe it. I did it, you know. And I was, oh my God, like, and I go back to the room, had a shower. And so that's how Roger felt at that day in 2005, you know. But the thing was, it felt amazing as ecstasy on the first day. It was crazy, unbelievable. Oh my God, like any achievement that you do, like you work hard for it. I just felt a little bit weird on the following day. I felt a little bit weird because I didn't make no mistakes. No, I didn't go through no difficulty at all. I almost lost. Everything was like, I just went through everyone. I couldn't do better, you know? And then when you do that, I didn't have nothing planned for Monday. I didn't have motivation to go to the gym and go, okay, so I need to do that to improve. Because, you know what I mean? So I felt a little weird, you know? I felt weird to the point that when I went back home, I was scared of the plane crash, and that was my purpose in life. You know what I mean? I was so stressed that I left my my laptop on the security, and I lost my brand new laptop. So the more of the story on that, you know, it was amazing feeling, you know, amazing feeling. But I had a very finite mindset for that stage, and that's what got me a little bit down the next day, because I was aiming too much for that when I achieve, there's nothing else to look up to, because that's the pinnacle. And when you're in the pinnacle, the only way is down, right? So what I felt was a very good reflection time, like I'm having now with this pandemic, you know? Is how you go like, hold on a second, what is the purpose? Okay, you won, you became the best in grappler in the whole world. You know, the way that you did was magnificent, and you couldn't do any better. In stylish, with new techniques, it just shocked the world. Then you go, hold on a second, what's next? So that's when I learned how to shift my purpose, as in something that is never gonna end. Because if you aim to be the champion, the best in the world only, and that's it can be an end. So that's when I shift in terms of, you know what, I want to use this jiu-jitsu as a tool, be part of a team that their objective is to pass it on, to make people become a better version of themselves. And I become a better version of myself, independent of what championships I'm doing. I want to become a very good instructor. I want to be able to deliver. I want to be able to inspire. I want to be able to motivate people, to motivate others. And this is a never-ending journey upwards. So that's when a little bit of a reflection I had, because in terms of feeling, Eliot, I don't think it was crazy when I won the ADCC 2009. But I knew I could. And many people believe that I could. Not necessarily maybe beating everyone's like that, but there was like a possibility that's very clear in my mind. But when I won my first tournament as an IBJJF blue belt at the Pan Ams in 99, the feeling, if it's not the same, was a little more intense when I was a blue belt, because it was when it had the feeling of, man, I can do it. That's when I discovered. So it's a mixed feeling. It's like, you know what I mean? That's the thing, So sometimes people focus too much on destination, but the journey is where the magic happens.
I agree, man. I've had obviously not as many as you, but I've had a lot of wins too. And I don't remember them all, but I remember the first.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I remember, like what you were just saying there. I remember the first time I won the Pan Ams as a blue belt. Like I was,
and this is like dude, I'm on the right way.
I can do this.
Yeah.
Like that belief in your head that you didn't know about beforehand, right?
Yeah.
Like that you thought you could, you wanted to, you weren't sure, what the fuck am I doing? And then boom, holy shit. Right? Like it's possible. It's possible, because when you think about it, it's those tournaments that are really the big ones, probably, because without that, you would have never believed that you could even have won the 2009 ADCC Absolute. Something had to be the spark.
And that's the limit, right, as well. For example, if I go, like, even with, if I go and fight in the World Championship as a blue belt now, I'm going to win weight in absolute, but it's not the same, because I'm not fighting the level.
Right.
So what I'm trying to say is that a guy that's fighting a blue belt, that he's on the blue belt level, fighting someone the same level as him, the achievement is equal as on the black belt for the level that we fight against each other, because the difficulty is pretty much the same if you fight in the same stance, the same level, if you train for the same amount of time.
Sure.
And the achievement and the feeling of the achievement, that you work hard to accomplish a mission, and the mission is hard, and you go through it and you win, the feeling is pretty much the same if you win a black belt world champion or if you win a blue belt world champion,
You think so? I mean, I didn't win both, so I can't tell you.
The only difference is that, okay, you reach a level that you are black belt, in that you can probably beat the brown, purple, blue. But in terms of it, when you focus on anything you do in life, imagine business or anything, you focus, the journey is going to be tough, but you dedicate yourself every day towards that goal. Boom. Man, I want to make my academy successful. I want to make my business successful. And that's what I need to study. And that's what I need to put in practice. I need to do those conferences. I need to do those seminars. And I do that. I invest myself. I spend a lot of money. I put myself the time. And within 3 years, I have a multi-million-dollar contract. You go, yes! That's the feel.
Right.
Either way. There was no money.
Saying. Yeah, but without the million. I want two more things that I really want to talk about, because you had a very serious injury, right, with your neck, right? But then you came back, and then you were able to win another world championship. What was that like? Because, I mean, when you hurt your neck, it's not like hurting your foot, right? It's not like hurting your elbow, like where you're like, okay, this is going to heal and then I'll be fine. Like even if your foot or your elbow hurts a little bit, it's not going to stop you from training. But when you hurt your spine, right? When you do that, this could be it, right? Like you could be totally done. You might not even be able to train again.
Yeah.
What was that? What was the difficulty, the worst times? And then how did you get through them to become a champion again?
Yeah, I mean, at the time, I think Jacare was a guy that motivated me the most to be able to get back, okay, for the reason. In 2009, I won the Absolute in the ADCC. So that means it gives me the super fight in 2 years' time.
Mm-hmm.
So he was fighting Drysdale, and then he beat Drysdale on the super fight of the same year that I won the 2009. So basically, we were meant to meet each other in 2011. And then I had my Jacare has been my biggest rival, and I had fought him 4 times previous the 2009, and I've lost all of them. I don't even score a point on him, you know. So he was like my rock on my shoes, you know. And when I had the opportunity that, oh man, I'm gonna fight in 2011, that's great. And then I hurt myself in 2010. In training MMA, because after 2009, I remember what's next. I said, oh, next is going to be MMA. So let's train MMA, and I did it. And then I went to a single leg, Andre Wiener, you know, a friend of us, and then he pulled me to the side. I tried to defend to not fall, fell on my head. Bro, I got tetraplegic, and it was the worst feeling that I have ever felt in my whole entire life. And I thought I wasn't going to walk anymore. I thought the first thing that came to my mind was my kid, that, oh man, I won't be able to pick up my kid to play. And the second feeling that I had was, oh, I'm not going to fight Jacare. Oh my God, I can't believe, you know, that's crap. And then I just, you know, was told that I would never be able to train jiu-jitsu or do any sports contact anymore. If I want to be a sportsman, I would be playing darts, because not even golf I should be doing. And then because I had two discs, that's the problem, the two levels. And when I went to the doctors, the fourth doctor, who was the best one in Europe, Mr. Hamlin, he said, listen, I put a rugby player back in the professional with this new technology. So I said, oh man, you know, that's going to be a good opportunity for me. So I will try, I'll give it a try. So I did a try. And with the goal was 4 months without doing no exercising. And then I would have 4 months to get back in shape. So I make the surgery exactly 8 months before the tournament, so we can do that. So I had a lot of trust as well on my doctor. I had a lot of trust on the technology, and I remember how much I really wanted to get back. I think the mind is what really worked on that, and I really wanted. It just comes down to how much you want and how much you're willing to do whatever it takes to get what you want. That's what comes down in the end, you know. Because if you go and ask in a big room, hey, how many of you want to be successful? Most people, me. And if you ask the same question, how many of you will be successful? You start already people, maybe a couple, you know what I mean? Because that's the mentality that I had. Since before the surgery, I was thinking about, I need to get better because I want to fight Jacare, I want to beat him. And I 4 months without doing just rehab. So I had 4 months to go back better than I could ever be in my life, and I fought him. So that, and when I beat him, you know, in a 30 minutes match, you know, I'm fighting the best in the world, my biggest rival, with the pressure of being on the backyard here at home in London, in Nottingham, and I won. I said, oh man, you know, that's the proof that if you really believe, you really do what it takes, you can do anything. And I just got back better than I was before.
Yeah, again, it comes down to that belief that you can do it.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, it's like how you're saying that, right? Like everyone raises their hand who wants to be successful, who's not going to sleep tonight because they have to stay up to do the work, right? Mm-hmm. Who's going to work whatever job is necessary so that they can train all day on their way up, right? On their way up, right? Like, I mean, the stardom's pretty easy, right? Like the stardom, like training when you have a lot of money and you're famous and all that, like, sure, that's right. But there's something that it takes to get there. And that's what the big question really becomes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, before we close up, you've made this switch, man. You've been able to make this switch from competitor to business, right? Like to your schools and to, I think you run all of Gracie Barra Europe, right? Like
Yeah, Victor and I, Victor does a lot of the admin, but we together we work we are the biggest ambassadors and
right.
Collaborators in the whole Europe. Yeah.
So what has that switch been like? How have you been able? I mean, so. You know, the Euros used to be kind of big, but now I think they might be like the biggest attended tournament, right? Like the Euros are huge now. It's like 6 days, and that's huge on you, right? Because you're not just England, like you're the ambassador for Europe, you and Victor, like you said. What have you done? How have you created, or how have you been able to grow Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Europe?
Yeah, I mean, when I came here in 2002, and one of my goals was to spread Jiu-Jitsu, you know. With the more I grew into jiu-jitsu, the more I grew my relationship with the Gracie Barra, with you know, Marcelo Carlos Gracie Jr. and, you know, all the guys that are, you know, that we got connected. And then we have very similar integrity, very similar values as human beings. And we have similar goals as well. And Marcelo Carlos, he has a very big and strong vision to the world. And using jiu-jitsu as a tool to make a positive impact. And back in the day when you started, you know, it used to be jiu-jitsu is like you'll be thrown on the shark tank, and you got to survive. You fit in, if not. So not necessarily was jiu-jitsu for everyone, and it was made very much jiu-jitsu for whoever can handle the first impact, you know, like
jiu-jitsu was for the tough when we first started.
Yes, for the tough, but jiu-jitsu it changed completely the idea of jiu-jitsu is all about. Because jiu-jitsu is about a smaller be able to control a bigger person, is be able to the self-defense, you know, a smaller person to be able to protect from a bigger person. This is what jiu-jitsu. That's what from Marcelo Gracie always, you know, attract him to it, right? And once you're there, you couldn't do it, right, back in the day, because if you were smaller and it just get battered, it didn't stop coming. You know what I mean? So, but how about if we could slowly, gradually pass it on you, the information on your level, that you could build your confidence, that you can become and reap the fruits of what jiu-jitsu can actually give you. Because jiu-jitsu is much more than just tapping each other out, submitting each other out. Jiu-jitsu is about a lifestyle, is about becoming a better version of yourself. So it's about sharing, it's about helping each other, you know, and it's a positive impact. And you know, I know how much jiu-jitsu has changed our lives. You know, it's not because we won tournaments, but you know how much is important to be comfortable in an uncomfortable situation, how much confidence gives to people that you teach. So the idea was, hold on a second, because Marcelo Gracie Sr. always believed that the world would be a better place if jiu-jitsu was spread to everyone. And I do believe that, truly believe. If everyone did jiu-jitsu in the world, there would be no this kind of wars that we're doing now, because there will be so much respect, because people understand the hardship and what really matters in life, right? So with that mindset, I said, man, listen, this is what I believe as well. And then how about if we use this jiu-jitsu as a tool to make a positive impact to the world? Okay, I won the tournament, but listen, I can still help other persons to become a better version of themselves, that they can reap the fruits and applying those concepts that we learn in jiu-jitsu on the outside world. People not necessarily going to train jiu-jitsu just to be a world champion. They might train jiu-jitsu just to socialize, to become, to get a goal, to learn the attributes in jiu-jitsu and apply outside of the world to become a better version of themselves. That's what really are the goal. So once I understood that, you know, I just went all in, because I knew it was going to be a good impact. And then we're trying to make a big difference. Every account that we're at right now, the way that we pass it on, we're making a huge positive impact on every community that we're in. And that's why jiu-jitsu becomes so spread out, because it's not only effective, it's not only powerful, but also it is a humble one. It's like we are able to beat someone without even hurting him if you don't want to. And this is magic. When you have this power, you know, of being able to control, submit someone else that wanted to hurt you without necessarily hurting them, is very humbling. And it's powerful. It's like I always say in Brazil, it's like it's a slap of a glove on someone else, on the aggressor, you know. And this is the mentality that I've always found very appealing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, blood sport, like you come like has the bully and has like the Van Damme comes like the humble guy, be able to show that with respect, I can still come up as in a victory. So this kind of always attracts me, and I use that to be able to pass it on to everyone. And I think people are daring. And then when I came here, the first Europeans, there was 350 people competing. It was like more than 11 years ago. Now it's over 6,000 people.
Yeah.
You know, so it shows that jiu-jitsu is being seen, you know, through the UFC, people like you competing, people like, you know, all the guys that Verdun, all those guys that brought jiu-jitsu very visible through the UFC. People start saying, oh man, this is actually, there's a very good foundation there. And then people get more intrigued and know that, oh, I can actually train jiu-jitsu and I can train hard without hurting each other. In that, I like when I do MMA, I will hurt each other, you know. So it's like people start thinking, you know what, I can kind of train longer on that, and that's what I think jiu-jitsu become a very big wave, and then it's been very awesome part of it.
You can feel your passion for it. Like you're not just saying it, right? Like you're not just like, all right, let me think of some answer here. Like, you know, you really believe it, you know? So man, fuck yeah. I 100% agree with you. You know, like,
yeah, I think jiu-jitsu is amazing, man. It's changing people. I see how much effect has been changed. I have black belts today that are inspiring other people. That I remember the first day that he came, he was like completely suicidal. That was down, depressed. There's no goals. You know, nowadays the guy is like a healthy, competes all the time, and looking after the academy, pass it on to people, change people. And this is amazing. It's amazing being part of something like that. At least for me, as I know, full conscience is a talk for the positive.
For sure, man. It's the best thing ever. Like you know, like when you're a competitor, you think that winning is the best thing ever, but like having a real change, having a real impact on someone's life, like when they're like, yo, man, like you saved my life. Like that, there's nothing like that. You know, there's nothing like that, you know? Yeah, man, I know you got to go. You got to teach a class here soon, but yeah. Tell everyone where they can reach you if they're in Europe, you know, your Instagram or your school, and shout it out.
Guys, at the moment, you know, you can reach me on the Instagram or on the Zoom classes.
On the gram.
But you know, like at Braulio Estima on the Instagram, I'm always there. And man, I just would like to pass it on a message, man. Let's be positive. Let's use whatever we learn in jiu-jitsu to put in practice. Now is the time to put in practice. You know, now is the time for us to try to be comfortable on the uncomfortable situation. One thing that we know for sure that it will pass, you know, because everything passes, you know, and just need to be strong and believe that there is always a way out if you not panic. Take a deep breath. Try to see the positive or the negative, you know, and then like that, you're always going to be motivated and connect with people that are doing what we're doing. Connect, watch things positive, stop being focused on the negative, because it's very easy just to be looking, this, how many people died, this bringing like a bad energy, you know. Try to use this time to reflect. Try to make a time during the day that you have things that you can do for yourself, that you do something to help someone else, that take time to learn something different, and try to be part of the community, make your community stronger.
You're the man, bro. You're the man. I appreciate it. Good to see you. Thanks for coming on, Braulio. Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on and doing it. I know with the time zone switch and everything, it gets a little complicated, but we made it happen, and man, I greatly appreciate it. I
appreciate it, brother. You're awesome guy. I miss you. Send my love to your mom. And,
I will.
I'll see you in the other side of the screen at some point.
I'll see you on the other side, man. All right, guys. As always, go out there and find your power. You have a unique power. It's like I say, it's not Braulio's, it's not mine, it's not your mom's, and it's not your spouse's. You have a unique power. Go out there and find it. And then that is what's going to make you amazing. Have a good day, everybody.